Hi, I'm glad you're here. There is a principle in neuroscience called the Hebbian principle. And basically, what that means is that what is fired together in the brain is wired together. We become what we focus on. So when we follow Jesus, we are invited to become like him. So, how can we become more like Christ when dealing with our neighbors? Jesus preached the gospel of peace to the Samaritans. They were the enemies of the Jewish people at the time. And later his apostles followed his same example. This is in Acts 8:25. Jesus demonstrated a heart for those that were rejected and discriminated against because they were different. The Samaritans were considered to be half-breeds and that were considered to be out of the favor of God's love and God's mercy. So what we're going to do today is we're going to use a story in the gospel, and we're going to use our imagination to take us into the past, and we're going to bring the past to the present. As I read the scripture, I would like for you to pay attention to where your mind and your heart are drawn. Put yourself in the scene. Allow your whole being to be open to Christ or God working through the events of the passage. So you're going to allow yourself to be present with the characters on the dusty road. Notice any sights or smells or sounds that might be present. And as the story comes to an end, picture all the other characters just fading out, and you remain alone with Jesus or God. So you're invited to shut your eyes and just listen to the passage I'm going to read. And as I said, put yourself in the scene. You're now hearing the words of Jesus of Nazareth. A man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho when he fell into the hands of robbers. They stripped him of his clothes, they beat him, and went away, leaving him half dead. A priest happened to be going down the same road, and when he saw the man, he passed by on the other side. So too a Levite, when he came to the place and saw him, he passed by on the other side. But a Samaritan, as he traveled, came where the man was, and when he saw him, he took pity on him. He went to him and he bandaged his wounds, pouring on oil and wine. Then he put the man on his own donkey, took him to an inn, and took care of him. The next day, he took out 2 silver coins and gave them to the innkeeper. "Look after him," he said, "and when I return, I will reimburse you for any extra expense you may have." Jesus asked, "Which of these 3 do you think was a neighbor to the man who fell into the hands of robbers?" The expert in the law replied, "The one who had mercy on him." Jesus told him, "Go and do likewise." As you reflect and respond to the words of Jesus, ask him, or God, or if you're more comfortable, ask the light of Christ, which is within you and around you, to help you see which person in the story you identify with the most. Are you the beaten person? Are you the robbers? Are you the persons that ignored the wounds of another? Are you the person who tended and cared for the beaten one? If you are the beaten one, imagine the healing light of Christ or God bandaging your wounds, pouring on healing oil and antiseptics, carrying you and your wounds to a safe place, and making sure you would be taken care of when he was gone. Allow your heart to be filled with God's love and mercy. If you are the robber or the persons ignoring the wounded, ask Jesus or the light of Christ or God to show you where you have actively harmed or unintentionally harmed another, or ignored the wounds of another. And that includes you. Where have you harmed yourself or ignored your own wounds? Ask the light of Christ or Jesus for forgiveness. Ask for mercy and show gratitude for the healing of this part of you. Visualize the light of Christ surrounding you, showering you with unconditional love and compassion. If you're the one that is taking care of the wounded, ask Jesus or the light of Christ to continue to give you the strength to show love and compassion and kindness from your heart, which is connected to God's heart, to your neighbors. Ask for the merciful heart of Christ or God to be your heart. You know, you might discover that you can identify with all of the persons in this story. So ask Jesus, God, or the light of Christ to continue to guide you, to fill your heart, to fill it completely with God's unconditional love, compassion, and kindness for all people. To fill your heart with mercy, forgiveness, and gratitude. Now you're invited to just allow this healing, generous love to flow into you. We're going to breathe in mercy. Breathe in kindness. Breathe in compassion. Next, let's ask Jesus or the light of Christ or God what it is you need to let go of. What is it that you are being invited to let go of so you can breathe out mercy to your neighbor, Breathe out kindness. Breathe out compassion. So spend the next few minutes in silence, just focusing on God's merciful love. If you get distracted, just return to your breath. As the video meditation comes to a close, you are invited to continue and sit in the silence, just focusing on God's mercy, God's love, and God's Spirit. May God's Spirit be with you all.